Okay, so I want to talk about the experience, or like my experience of reason repression development in the brain. I didn't know this was exactly a neurological response to a overdeveloped time of mental oppression, meaning that your brain is lacking an amount of information to create the amount of reason and logic that can help you and your brain make reason and logic connections, which those connections create the dictionary term concept. And that process helps your brain make sense of the outside world and what it takes in here. And then once it reasons the logic, it sees it out in the outer world. It's like a second check to balance the same information. So my experience was that I was smart enough by the time that I graduated high school, and by the time I began college and began the new stage in maturity, stressors became a little psychological heavy, and that mixture of needing an extra support of information also weighed onto what I already was reasoning myself with what I knew, and the independent form of the psyche, of your own psychological nature to think for yourself. And so both those things clashed probably like 2 weeks or 3 weeks into my first month in college. And I remember it so painfully because it literally felt like someone had hit, like not necessarily the hit of the fist, but like something that hit everything here and instantly hit, like went from so like a migraine, but it covered this whole portion here. So like once it hit my eyes, like once it went down into my eyes, it blocked my ability to breathe, because like the eyes, my eyes felt like they were being brought in a little, like both of them at the same time, and like trying to behave normally, searching to be able to see, but that migraine was so painful that it blocked my ability to see anything, and I was freaking out inside because, you know, I'm like, I think I'm going blind. Like, I have no gauge on how long that was going to last, and I seriously, like, just had to wait it out and basically hope that my eyesight would return and the migraine would stop. And I literally was like, this, like, what I'm experiencing with this pain, I seriously am going blind. Like, I'm hoping, right, I'm praying at this point that, like, I'm not actually going blind, that the pain will go away, and the pain doesn't mean that my eyes are not going to work the same. Because, I mean, I've had reading glasses growing up, right? But it was never anything that was drastic. So, like, they basically were like, oh yeah, well, you have a teeny little bit of a stigma. And I can't necessarily remember which one it is, if it's like trying to force my so like the standard the optical doctor has for an average. So they were saying that I had either the one where I have to like sort of kind of have it a little bit ahead of me to be able to see it clearly, or a little bit close to me to be able to see the words clearly, something like that. Anyways, the matter of fact is, it didn't really bother me, and it wasn't necessarily a requirement for me to wear the glasses daily or any of that. They were like, well, it's a suggestion, and maybe, you know, like, don't break these glasses, but, like, you know, my parents are still paying for really fucking expensive glasses that I don't necessarily need. And they're just like, well, we're suggesting it so your stigma hopefully doesn't get worse. And so, but anyways, I was fine. I grew up normal as a child without the glasses. Sometimes I wore the glasses, sometimes I didn't. But anyways, so my first month, I was at the dorms that I was staying at, and I was walking out into the parking lot to get something. And at this point I was searching for something that I had left out somewhere in someone's car. So I'm pretty sure this is the timeline. Anyways, the terrifying part was that I literally was walking into the parking lot, and I was walking behind one of the car's back bumpers, and then it fucking felt it. I'm sorry, but it felt like a like literally like my forehead got taken over, and literally like I lost my breath. I lost my breath, and I was panicking because it was an instant migraine where like I like as if someone was like holding me in this like by the back of my shirt somewhere. Like literally I had no ability to grasp anything, and that pain hit so severely, and like I'm like trying to cry, but I can't even cry because then it hurts even more. So it's like literally like not feeling my eyes going dry, but like that reaction of like staying hidden. Like I was trying to do the opposite, the counter opposite, be able to be like, oh my god, like I need to find normalcy. If my, like I'm freaking out, right? I'm like, if my eyes stay like this, what if they stay like this and I go blind, I stay blind or something. But anyways, so like after a while, I like thanked my lucky stars because the migraine, not that I have history of getting migraines or headaches, but that migraine finally slowly, like as if it was this thick, slowly went away, and I could breathe again. And then I had to hunch over and like catch my breath and like wait a good like a good 10 minutes or 15 minutes of me partially kind of like aligning to the level of my forehead feeling so that my eyes could feel rest. And then eventually I could slowly be able to open my eyes and check how much I was able to see. And that was so terrifying. And I like automatically I'm like, oh my god, is it like some health issue that I have now? What am I supposed to do? So like instantly I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make an eye appointment tomorrow. Like I need to know that this isn't going to happen again. Like probably something's wrong or something, and I need them to fix me. And so I make the appointment, and so they give me the appointment. I show up, right? They do the multiple lenses, and they do the normal chemical or air thing that they shoot up your eyes so that all the different dilations are checked to see if they match. And so they told me I had nothing wrong. Like once again, pretty much the same level of well, it's basically reading glasses. So if you want, you can get them, and there hasn't necessarily been any drastic changes to your eyesight. The thing that you were explaining isn't showing up in your test results here. So I mean, still, if you want reading glasses and I was still scared from the experience, so I was like, yeah, I'll take them. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna wear my glasses, and they were $200 for an amount that I could have bought at a gas station. And then I'm like, well, at least the frames are sort of kind of cooler, more glass frame college looking, but like that they were $200. That eventually I didn't necessarily wear those either. But then, okay, so that was when I was 18. Then when I turned, I think when I turned somewhere in the age of 22 or 23, this time it wasn't like okay, hold on. So it wasn't like a ball hitting me in the head, like this whole thing. No. This time it was as if like where I was standing right there, it was like a space air pocket opened up around me, and I instantly, like, I was walking from the bathroom taking a shower into a bedroom that it was connected to, and thank God that there was a bed there, because I instantly dropped back because it felt like my whole body just was incapable of existing in that pocket. And it's still around me, right? It's still around me. And like I'm on the bed, and I'm not saying like some ghost tried to possess me or any of that. No, I literally mean like the feeling of a like a pocket of air, like some science thing in your environment, but at the same time I'm like, that's not necessarily my environment, like that's coming out of my head. Like my mind is not like something's wrong, okay? So I'm instantly so dizzy. Everything in my vision feels as if, so like the closest thing that maybe some of you could relate to is like some intense drunk state where you guys are just like literally unable to stand or anything because everything makes you feel dizzy, or like some other person describing some vertigo reaction. And so I'm also freaking out because I'm like, what if I also have some chronic disease now with vertigo, because my cousin is also has been experiencing for years. If it's not her being dizzy drunk, it's that she has some vertigo feeling, and then I'm like, oh my god, please fix yourself, please fix yourself. And so I'm like, what is wrong? Like what? Like I'm not necessarily, I'm like half able to think, and then half experiencing something that I don't have control over, and I'm like trying to stop from visually experiencing it, but I can't really close my eyes because that also, I'm like counting my breaths, and I'm like, I'm not gonna throw up. I am not gonna throw up. And so eventually it takes like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and finally I like the feeling is not just gone, right? Like this pocket of like now like this wormhole of visual air, right? Like it's not, I know there isn't wind around me or that moving air, but like that's just like what feeling I'm going through. And visually my eyes are being like forced into one way or another, and so that's that's what I'm taking, that's what it's looking like. And I'm like, please, 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 please stop. And so this time, so now everything settles, right? Everything settles in that pocket where I'm on the bed and looking up, because I'm like, nope, we're done here. And that pocket, that air of pocket, like my eyes are instantly, so this right here where my eyes are, like looking into a room normally, you know, like something you don't necessarily notice, but like your eyesight perception is taking in like a small apartment sized room at a time in like the quick amount, unless like you're super into some, so like if your extrovertedness is higher, and that means your alert system is at a broader range, or you know, you're just in like one of those cultures that naturally are more social, so you are able to perceive like twice or triple the size of a small apartment living room. And but like mine I'm like, I'm trying to have everything stop and for my eyes to like be able to see. And so this whole part here, me looking up, right? Me looking up, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I can see, and everything stopped. Okay, it's like in my head, my, like where my vision is, literally that portion of my eyes literally had to stop and literally use space. Like it literally, like I had to use my eyes normally, like my brain freaked out so much that my brain forced my eyes to literally stay in that focal point. And it was like there. And I'm like, now, like, I feel so almost like odd. I am feeling odd, like AWE, like, oh, like, but because that's like partial shock, partial, like when someone, like when, like, just out of nowhere hits you on the side or something, you're like shocked for a little bit, but a mixture of awe, which is what the space felt like. And like my head, like my brain got readjusted. And then all I could do was like breathe out and then breathe in, and then be in this like super extra thankful place of feeling, because it also felt like it could have lasted for like 2-3 hours, and there was no way that visually and physically I was going to get through that. So if I had to go through 2 or 3 hours of that, my brain and my body probably would have suffocated. And I would have probably gone into a coma or died, because I was panicking. Like my heart rate was trying to normalize, to figure out where in my neurological system was wrong, and the only thing it was able to do was like seriously like really, like, I don't know, something in the brain, in my head, like hold on, and like, this is your only choice. And for like my eyes to have that extra connection there, to be able to see normally. And so yeah, that shock reaction, that awe reaction, that was an actual body brain reaction, being like, okay, you're working, you're working normally again. And it's not like my brain disrupting one way and then my body another way. That was not possible. That would have kept me in that panic, that shock and suffocation. So, you know, it had to stay like right in the middle, and I just had to like just find that space and not freak out anymore, and just be like, if I freak out, I'm gonna make it worse, and I'm not going back into that state of mind or the body reaction to that state of mind. However or why ever it hit me that way. I don't know what amount. Well, maybe I had been taking in more stresses into my life, and I just mentally and physically was burnt out and tired, my nervous system reacted to all the heavy stresses. But that was not fun. I could have gone blind or suffocated and died, or gone to a coma, or had a form of stroke, like a cerebral stroke. So all of that. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. So the first time was a normal response, right? Well, a non-drug induced response that I had with the hit here, like the migraine just almost knocking me out, and like hitting like everything here down to the anyways. And then the second time I was on a small dose, a small what do you call it, like a token or just like one thing of weed, and it was a hybrid, I believe, because anything of that sort with the downer, the indica, shut me off completely, and the sativa also like I couldn't use my body. So the hybrid was kind of in the middle where I could still use my body and my mind. Sorry if that also involves the stupid joke comparisons of all you drug people who are like, oh, well, you can't take the drug, you can't think, or your body is not like behaving normally. That makes you stupid, or more stupid, or stupider, and you're just probably just not that smart. Like, bringing in some weed culture into this conversation, because with the extra stuff, like a lot of people telling me how weed is helpful and medical and all this stuff, y'all could have fucking killed me. So those legends, those myths about weed not creating such a stressor in the body that it could never kill anybody, especially with that low dose. But like, you don't know my body. I was too young to know my body and my neurology and the level of chemical affliction. And I didn't use as many big words as I use now, so I was pretty naive too. I mean, yeah, young, still getting ahead in life and having those smart classes, but like, I wasn't some level chemical person raised based on weed culture family or family friends or whatever the culture terms are. But like, thank God that my brain gave me a second chance, and thank God that I knew how to control the level of panic I was going through. And because someone else probably would have been maybe one step closer to actually dying in that scenario if I wasn't close enough, or ended up with a severe diagnosis of vertigo that didn't have to be, because my brain was trying to figure out what was happening and if it was a reaction to something else. It was trying to name it, and it was just best for my brain to find the alertness of not panicking. So, yeah. If some of y'all wanted to go super weed spiritual or some other drug spiritual and be like, oh no, it's because of like some ghost story of weed coming back to life in some like spiritual ghost turn. So let's jump into the term and subject of the reasoning and logical part too, right? The repressed part. Okay, my brain had just enough to know that it could understand an enough concept, or a list of concepts, short list of concept. But like, let's talk about like logical and reason choices for reason and logic. And the oppression comes in because the repressive part is that America on a day-to-day basis does not provide like the social aspect, the everyday type of information is not intellectually dense enough. And so that big, so like those, like the nervous system being like, okay, so it's time to think about this concept, or think about these things, and reason, and have a trail of thought. In my brain, we're like having like 5 topics, and so then my brain, my mind, my trail of thought is looking for more information. I mean, I'm not trying to learn a different topic, but I'm like trying to, like, my brain's trying to make sense of the topics that I have by adding to them, and there's nothing. There's nothing, and, you know, like, I'm, like, going through life, and I don't necessarily have the time to add information because I'm focused on completing a required task, a new added way of a specific curriculum, but not necessarily the way that is an instant application to a reality check, and a reality check of reason and logic instantly, because my brain is more technical than some other people's brains, or it searches for those technical forms of perception or explanation, those kind of things, on a more everyday term of use. And so I'm like, now my brain is trying to work the way it typically works much more often, because my brain instantly goes into a thinking mode. And I used to be someone that got ahead of the technical, like a much more easier way, not a spiritual one, but a philosophical one. And that seemed to be something that helped me be able to take in information that is, because philosophy, depending on what type, and I mean like old philosophy, I mean like old but modernized psychological philosophy, not like super modern new age, let's make up a type of philosophy and try to apply it. No, I mean like physics, and how that applies, and how that applies to behavioral, environmental influence and reaction. And then you can add to more detailed scenarios of, these people are these type of people, these people come from this culture, and that's the reason why they would react this way or be influenced this way. And that makes it a philosophy later on, if that reaction happens much more often than not. Because it's not a law, it's not something that happens every time, but it does happen often. So I'm not going to school for my brain use to be active constantly and learning through a philosophical mindset. That's a different self-hobby, or a alone time type of subject and application. But I'm going to school for something else. Yeah, it has, it helps, right? Like, I got lucky that it helps with, it helped with the cultural different aspects of things that helped me be able to perceive and apply some philosophies. And that was during a language learning career school option, and I probably would have gotten a little more of the textbook, not really the practical use, but the textbook version, if I had pursued psychology as a career option, minor, major, or major, masters, or, well, you practically have to have the PhD to be able to sustain a good lifestyle or pay back your debt. So, yeah, that, and the resident level after, that was going to be like 4 years or 4, 5, 6, 7 years after the textbook stuff. So like my brain would not have had those chances to necessarily apply the information in a practical way. And so at least with the language career path, I was learning culture and applying it almost instantaneously, which helped my brain work the way it naturally works. And so my brain was like, I can't stay in this little portion anymore. And so that snap, and then trying to go back to a normal state, where it normally is, like it couldn't stay there anymore. And that level of psychological growing pain literally could have left me in such a massive health issue. And thank God that I was spiritual enough. Like, an atheist would have suffocated and died because their neurology to their brain would not have given them literally reason to breathe, to be able to put air back into their head. Like the extra, the last little bits of your brain believing like that so like so like an atheist would have would have had to believe they were going crazy into this state of dysphoria and right, the push, the help for that suffocation stuff, that suffocation reaction, but willingly, right? And then the other part, which is like a euphoria that usually goes along with spiritual thinking during the dissociation, but like an atheist would have had to go into that euphoria after the dissociation. So like the dissociation would have hit them as them being like, oh my god, I am going crazy. So it's like a brain instant reaction that that they are searching, their brain is still searching to stay alive, to hold on to an answer, a response. And then after that, they go into a euphoria because your brain and your body are suffocating, right? You're suffocating there. And then as it eases, because you have accepted something that is it is an answer. It is an answer that you have accepted and are not pushing away to create more nervous system panic in the brain and your body. So that is an instant level of euphoria that is thrown out and received almost instantly into your brain and then sent into your body. And so during that time, it allows a small pocket in time for the body to calm down. And if it reaches that calm state and you allow it there, then the dissociation returns to the state of your body finding connection again, and your mind finding connection again to your environment, instead of, like staying in dissociation for that state of coma that you have finally reached, or that last bit of euphoria or panic, depending on, like, let's hope it's not, you don't, like, lose that last bit of euphoria, accepting gone crazy or something. Because then you would feel that big massive boulder crush you. And so, but spiritually, it holds that extra level of space where you're like holding on to that level of dissociation, and kind of a form of, like, it's not euphoria, like, you're not, like, happy there, right? Like, the closest to that is that helpful, like, I'm okay. But during the time, it's like, it's giving you an extra level of room to think about what is happening, and the information there is potentially putting back your brain together. And so that your brain is still functioning and hasn't stopped, so that you're not in a cerebral stroke, and then just waiting for the rest of your body to find that calm state to calm down. So yeah, that was my 2 intense states of heavy level of awareness responses. To my body and to my brain. So yeah, that is my personal story. My personal stories there. Anyways, there you go.